Yeah, I mean, I think it's becoming clear to people who didn't see it before that gold is the new safe haven. I mean, it's always been a safe haven, but it's the last one standing. Treasuries were thought to be a safe haven, but I always pointed out they weren't a safe haven because they don't provide safety from inflation. And that's a big risk. And the gold provides that. And there were a lot of people over the last couple of years that were misled to believe that Bitcoin was an alternative safe haven to gold, that it was a digital cousin to gold, right? Even better, because gold was analog and Bitcoin was digital gold. And, digital is better than analog. But I think now people are finding out, many are still reluctant to admit this, but they will eventually have to acknowledge this, that Bitcoin is not an alternative to gold if your goal is a safe haven or a store of value or an inflation hedge.
Gold is once again in the spotlight as global markets are gripped by concerns about inflation and the Federal Reserve intensifies its tightening cycle. However, seasoned economist Peter Schiff cautions that the real storm hasn't even begun as investors rush to protect themselves against currency devaluation. Schiff cites the growing national debt, skyrocketing interest rates, and a declining value of the currency as signs of a financial reckoning that is imminent. In his most recent market commentary, Schiff attacks the Fed's credibility and contends that growing bond yields indicate a decline in trust in U.S. fiscal policy rather than an indication of economic health. Schiff claims that central banks worldwide are increasing their gold purchases out of fear of collapse rather than anticipation of prosperity. He points out that the recent strength of gold, which has held steady above important support levels, indicates a subtle but significant change in the mood of the world. Schiff claims it's a trap and warns that when the next catastrophe occurs, ordinary people will be left holding the bag, while mainstream commentators applaud the stock market's brief gains. Please remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and enable post notifications before we delve further. Thank you and enjoy the video.
But yeah, and I think that's because you've had a lot of central bank buying of gold and you haven't had central bank buying of those other commodities. But I do think the other commodities are going to turn because they're just very cheap. I don't think gold is expensive. I think those other commodities are cheap. And so I think that the way this is going to mean revert is going to be with the other metals coming up more than gold. I think gold's going to keep rising, but I do think you'll get a bigger rise out of silver, probably out of platinum as well. At some point, these metals are going to move. I just don't know when it's going to happen, but it will happen, right? And oil is going to go up and agricultural commodities. I think that, maybe the big drop in the dollar is going to be the catalyst for the big boom in commodity prices and those commodities, catching up to gold. They're not going to catch it in a sense that they're going to, silver's not going to be the same as gold price, but it's not going to be 100 to 1. It could go back up to 30 to 1. And at 30 to 1, that means, silver has to triple even if gold just stays where it is. But of course, gold's not going to stay where it is. So getting to 30 to 1 is going to be a moving target. Gold, it had one dip below 3,000 and then it made a new high. I think the record I saw was above 3,360. It's pulled back a little bit now, but it's still, it's still above 3,300. So we're 10% above 3,000. Yeah, I mean, I think it's becoming clear to people who didn't see it before that gold is the new safe haven. I mean, it's always been a safe haven, but it's the last one standing. Treasuries were thought to be a safe haven, but I always pointed out they weren't a safe haven because they don't provide safety from inflation. And that's a big risk. And the gold provides that. And there were a lot of people over the last couple of years that were misled to believe that Bitcoin was an alternative safe haven to gold, that it was a digital cousin to gold, right? It even better because gold was analog and Bitcoin was digital gold, and digital is better than analog. But I think now people are finding out, many are still reluctant to admit this, but they will eventually have to acknowledge this, that Bitcoin is not an alternative to gold if your goal is a safe haven or a store of value or an inflation hedge. Bitcoin can be looked at as an alternative to buying a lottery ticket, or buying a penny stock, right, that has no earnings, right? So, it's a way to gamble on something happening, but that's risk. So when you buy Bitcoin, you are assuming risk, right? If you sell stocks and buy Bitcoin, you're going from one risk asset to an even riskier asset. If you sell your stocks and buy gold, that's a completely different story. That's de-risking, right? That's going to something that's safe or stable, and so people are starting to realize that what they thought were safe havens are not safe havens. And so buyers of treasuries are buying gold instead. And maybe buyers of Bitcoin are buying gold instead.
According to Peter Schiff, America's financial might is precariously based on the fact that it no longer creates enough tangible products. He contends that because of its enormous manufacturing base, China actually has the upper hand. China might cause a significant worldwide change if it abandoned the US dollar and tied its currency, the yuan, to gold. Investors are already withdrawing funds from overvalued US assets in favor of safer, more robust other markets, Schiff notes. He thinks that if the dollar declines, developing economies may gain strength and the world's power may go to the east. China owns roughly $1 trillion in U.S. debt, second only to Japan, according to the U.S. Treasury. Schiff claims that by selling off its treasury holdings, China might weaponize that debt and devalue the currency. China has been covertly hoarding gold at the same time, probably in anticipation of increasing the value of the yuan and supporting it, at least in part, with gold. Now, let's watch more clips from the interview.
Our strength is actually our vulnerability. Donald Trump thinks he's holding a royal flush. He's got a busted inside straight, right? He's drawing. He's never going to fill it. He's got nothing. He's got China's got the cards. Besson says, "Oh, we're the deficit nation." Yes, we are the deficit nation. That's our problem. They say that China wants what we have. What do we have? A printing press? They got a printing press. We want what they have. The products that their factories produce. They've got the stuff. And if you produce it, you can consume it. We can't consume what we don't produce, right? There's more of them than there are of us. There's triple the population. There's almost 1 billion or maybe 1 billion people in China. We got like 340 million. There's no shortage of consumers in China. They got plenty of consumers. What we have a shortage of is factories and supply chains and skilled workers. That's a big problem. They don't have a problem finding consumers for their stuff. Anybody will consume, right? And the way to do that is weaken the dollar and strengthen the yuan. So China can kill two birds with one stone. Dump their dollars, dump their treasuries, dump their U.S. corporate bonds and whatever dollar-denominated debt they have. Buy gold, right? So diversify out of the dollar, peg their currency to gold. The yuan goes way up, and now all the Chinese are enriched. All the Chinese now have a huge purchasing power. They could buy all the goods that they were shipping to us, and we're the losers, right? They just take our purchasing power. Now China's got all the wealthy consumers. We just got a bunch of paper that nobody wants. Well, I think it's difficult. I mean, I think Trump is going to try to dig himself out of this hole by kind of pretending that this is all part of his master plan and it's all going exactly the way he planned it in his 4D chess game that nobody else can understand because he is the greatest negotiator in the world. And none of us can really understand the method of his madness because that's how, smart he is. But I think they will announce some deals, with various countries that they will tout as being this major win. But, they'll really be insignificant, just cosmetic victories. To the extent that, the U.S. and countries reduce whatever trade barriers they have, yes, I mean, that would be a good thing. But not enough to move the needle on the U.S. trade deficits because that's not why we have them. But, I do think that we've kind of started a process that is going to take on a life of its own. And as the dollar weakens, it will continue to weaken because currencies tend to trend. As the U.S., the foreign markets are outperforming, that will continue. For years, it's been obvious to pretty much any, investment portfolio manager that Europe and Asia had better valuations, that stocks were a better deal than they are in the U.S., that you are getting a lot more earnings and dividends for your money. But as long as the U.S. market had the momentum, that was kind of secondary. Valuation didn't really matter because what mattered was U.S. stocks go up. And, so we want to own them because they're going up. But once that turns and momentum is no longer the driving factor, now the valuation disparity becomes much more significant.
The economic realities of America are clearly depicted by Peter Schiff. He believes that the United States is bluffing in a lucrative game that it cannot win. Schiff asserts that the reality is far different from the claims made by politicians such as Donald Trump, that they have all the cards. Instead of actual economic strength, America is depending on borrowed funds and printed dollars. China has the advantage, however, because it possesses the factories, laborers, supply chains, and manufacturing capacity that are truly important. Ultimately, a country that produces is a prosperous country. He clarifies that Americans' consumption exceeds their production, and this disparity cannot be maintained. China's population is 3 times that of the United States, and their middle class is expanding and ready to purchase their own goods, so they don't need American consumers as much as many believe. By dumping US dollars and treasuries, stockpiling gold, and tying its currency, the yuan, to gold, China might fundamentally alter the game, Schiff cautions. A shift in global purchasing power toward China would result from that action, which would also weaken the dollar and enhance the yuan. Americans would suddenly be forced to deal with rising costs and declining purchasing power, while Chinese people would emerge as the most influential buyers in the world. He also criticizes the delusion of political strategy, arguing that in order to maintain his reputation, and as always, happy investing,